Thank you, MC, the Honorable Ministers, Your Excellency the Ambassador, and our guests from the UAE, Ugandans present, good afternoon. As introduced, Engineer Kijuka Kenneth is my name, and I'm the Chief Executive Officer at the business arm of government in real estate and construction called the National Housing and Construction Company Limited. We deal in real estate, and I quite know that many of you present here indeed have interests in real estate. Of course, real estate is a technical word, but simply put, it means housing. And so the opportunities, in 1 minute I have, I just want to lay bare the opportunities that in real estate in this country, Uganda. And I'll put it at 3 levels. We quite know that real estate can only be done here. When you look at the export-import, the balance of trade, we cannot export real estate. So we'll invite you to come and invest here. And this real estate in categories of residential, commercial, industrial, institutional real estate, or housing, once you build it here, it is permanent. We all know this. It is immovable. And therefore, the opportunity that exists at this moment sits in the great gains that have been achieved to date, that historically people used to fear investing long term. Because real estate, if you take it for residential housing, you'll either collect your revenues over a long period of time. If it is commercial housing, office apartments, these, you'll also collect your money over a long time. So historically, I think there has been fear as to the stability of the economy and whether we can attract people to invest here. Honorable Minister Matia Kasaija, Minister of Finance, who is the shareholder, my shareholder of shareholder of National Housing and Construction Company Limited, must be very excited that over the last 40 years, they've created this stability and we can attract UAE, whom we believe are a higher or a senior brother in the real estate market. Their real estate in Dubai, in Abu Dhabi, in Sharjah, in the entire UAE is at another level. And we want to appeal to them, honorable ministers, that with the stability created, with the industrial production that is happening, we want to invite them to make a step lower and appreciate that this is where UAE was about 25 years ago, and the leap they have made, we can make it together in this market. So the 3 levels at which we want to attract you, one of them is land. And we know there is always challenges on land. National Housing, which is the business arm of government, is the vehicle provided by government for you to leverage its existence and have an easy entry on land. The PST this morning talked about the incentives that will be available to you if you want to invest here, and one of them is land. Now, National Housing, we have land, both greenfield and brownfield, but that said, we also collaborate strongly with the Uganda Investment Authority. We also collaborate strongly with the Uganda Land Commission, and we are seated in the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development. So as an investor, if you have your funds, you are welcome to engage with me, to engage with National Housing, and through me, you'll directly be engaging with those institutions as well as Ministry of Finance to leverage on those incentives. Now, once land is provided, we look at the hardware, which is the immovable. Many of you talk of the 4 walls, and these 4 walls can be on ground or vertical. But also in the space of land, given the growing numbers, we want to go up. And that's where we can now save land. Because for every floor you create, you've actually created more land. So in the production of the hardware, which is the walls and the roof, Honorable Minister and our guests from UAE, this can be achieved. And a lot of industrial production is happening. If you look at the many industries that are with us in this country, more than 50% of them are producing for housing. And that's a gain. Whether it's cement, whether it's steel, whether it's tiles, whether it's paint, whether it's locks. These are happening here. And we want to invite more partners into this business space. But critically will be the third level of housing, which is the software side of housing. Now, you may have land, you have the hardware, which are the four walls, but housing is only sweet at its functionality, the operational side. And the value chains in housing will now move away from the four walls and the land. Just look at this building. That housing must have power, and I can tell you many sources of energy are already existing in this country. That housing must have water, and you want to say, yes, if I'm in this building, I can flush the toilet. I can turn on the tap. That housing must have internet connectivity they are talking about. That housing must have furniture. Furniture includes tables and beds and all this that you see. Carpets, the electricals and electromechanicals. So, Honorable Minister and our colleagues, the real estate sector is that big that you'll see it from housing. We want to invite you. Land is available. And we are so passionate because we must save our land as Uganda. They've told you our land is the most beautiful. We want to save the environment. So we want to avoid horizontal sprawl, make sure we congregate people in smaller spaces, and we allow that land to come through the ATMs. ATM, now, N, you remember, stands for agro-processing. For you to process agriculture products and export and get the 20 billion the PSST talked about, we must have the land, and we must save it. And so we want to invite you, colleagues, into a space of mass housing. The government is intentional through national housing and other sister agencies that we have to go mass housing, and we cannot do this ourselves. We need big brothers from UAE. We must also look at the slum upgrade and redevelopment. This is an opportunity that has been highlighted. If you look at all our capital city, and the Chief Executive Officer for the Kampala Capital City Authority talked about this, we have so many pockets that you look at and say these are slums. To us, it's an opportunity that these slums must be redeveloped, must be upgraded, because these slums have got people in there. Simply because, life is synonymous with housing. Wherever you see a slum, there is a life in that house. So we want to invite you into the big space. And these slums, we should not shy away about them. They are our rival lounges for our brothers and sisters coming from the villages, coming to look for opportunities in the cities. But because we have not provided this housing where they arrive, they will automatically find where they can coerce their friends, and you find they are staying like 5, 6, 8, 10 in that small room. So we want partners in that space. And this speaks to partnership with the government in terms of financing, but also in terms of alternative technology. I will tell you, if you come to us as national housing, if you are ready to invest in alternative technology that will deal with mass housing, but also look at redeeming and redeveloping the slums, we'll give you land where this production can happen. In the 1 to 4 years, we may allow you to import because we must also be doing something in between. But we think by the year 5, you should have set up a production line looking at the huge market that is available with us. We are not talking about Kampala capital city alone. We are talking about the other 10 cities that have been created. We are talking about the 31 municipalities that exist in this country. But most importantly, for real estate, the opportunity is in the population, the numbers. And you cannot go wrong, honorable ministers, that Uganda has the fastest growing population. The census done last year tells us that today we are 46 million, but the projections by 2050, in the next 25, we shall be 100 million Ugandans. Many economies of the world, the population is going down. For Uganda, the population is going up. So when it is going up, somebody should begin to think of pitching here to make sure that we can provide real estate that will accommodate these numbers. Honorable Minister and guests, we've been told of the tenfold growth that is expected. under the NDP4. I just want to encourage you and to really invite you. The moment we move from the $50 billion today to the $500 billion in the next 5 or 10 years, this money will come from exports, but when it comes back here, it will be looking at improving the life of Ugandans. And the only measure, for heaven's sake, the only measure will be household wealth, and why it is even coined household. It starts with the house. So many people, you'll have to look at the quality of life from the quality of housing, which is real estate. So let's pitch and look at this growth as going to be very relevant in terms of building up the real estate so that we can create good and living environments. The urbanization, Uganda also has the highest at about 5.9 or 6%, and this is an opportunity. But what this also does is that Ugandans today, we have a deficit of about 7 million housing units, the quality houses. The rest that you see are in transition. If you look at places like Nakasero, Kororo, Bugorobi, Ntinda, Chiwatule, where national housing has had its footprint, historically over the last 60 years. Now those huge bungalows we built, Honorable Minister, you remember, they are all being phased out. They are being demolished. Now what it means is that even the housing that we have, which we think is quality, in the foreseeable future of the tenfold growth and the quality of housing that is smart housing, KCC here talked of the smart cities. The housing we see today is going to go. And when it has gone, that means that's the opportunity that exists, that we must substitute this housing with quality housing. But also the culture trend in this country, that if I live in the city, I have a house in the city, but also have a house in the village. That creates 2 homes for this single family. So that means that even the deficit, which is in about 7 million houses, goes beyond 7 to about 10. So I could talk on and on because it's an area where I'm so passionate. I want to thank you, Ambassador Chibedi, that you have invited the bigger brothers, and the PSST has talked of all the incentives available in taxation, in land, in services to where you develop. If you'll choose to develop mass housing, then through national housing, power will be extended, water will be extended, the road will be extended to make sure that these numbers that you've created will be functional. So I want to thank you for finding space to come, and I'm hoping that after here, due to limited time, you can visit us or at our website, www.nhcc.co.ug, or visit us at our offices at Crescent Towers building, just opposite Serena Hotel in Kampala. We should be able to discuss with you more to confirm to you how we can be a vehicle for your entry into this huge market. Our neighbors are calling. The exports in the production for housing are also going beyond our boundaries, and we think we are such an environment that will help the real estate market to grow. Lastly, is the opportunity in the student accommodation. When you look at the numbers, more than 78% of our population are 35 years and below. All these are school going, right from nursery to university. And while they are out there, there is a huge gap for student accommodation. We'd like to partner with you in this space, and that is real estate. But that is accommodation, but there's also the learning environment, the auditorium, the lecture theaters, and these are huge aspects of real estate because it is construction, it is housing, and I want to invite you to come and join with National Housing, either in technology or in direct construction or in financing in that space. I thank you and wish you all the best. God bless.
Thank you very much, Engineer Kenneth Kaijuka from National Housing. At this point in time, colleagues, the time is now. I want to appreciate all of you for being here and taking time off to actually spend the last of your 3 days following up in these conversations. And of course, kudos to our host, Your Excellency Kibedi. It's only you who can tell how exhaustive the last 3 days have been. And for that matter, I want to invite you to come and give us a word, and then you will unfold the guests that you have come with. Thank you.
A big round of applause to our MC. Thank you for leading us through these 3 wonderful days. And as I thank him, and as I make my remarks, I would like to invite my colleagues from the Embassy and the Consulate to come forward, because we need to do much work to follow up. What creates a difference between walking the talk and just talking is implementing the outcomes of such a gathering. So I want all of you to see those that I work with. In case you can't find me, then you know whom to find next. Someone ask the embassy staff and consulate to come forward. Honorable Minister for Finance, Planning and Economic Development, Matia Kasaija, I must thank you for always supporting such initiatives, because it's not the first time that you are coming to support activities for implementing economic and commercial diplomacy. I remember you started with me in the Nordic countries. While I was still in the Nordic countries, you came and we started the Nordic Uganda Business Forum, which also attracted a lot of investments from that part to this country. So it was not by mistake that we identified you to come and preside over the closing, but just because we knew that you have passion about the initiatives being undertaken to grow this economy. I want also to thank Honorable Mbadi General for accepting our invitation to come and be part of this closing ceremony, but also for having accepted to come and network with our guests since last night when you came for the dinner. Just like Ambassador Sentong, we thank you on behalf of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We are grateful that you have always been supportive. Honorable Minister and colleagues here, I would like to introduce my colleagues that I work with. First on my left is Caesar. The other one is Okotevu. Is the immigration attaché to the Uganda Embassy. But as you know, we are very few at the embassy, and yet the workload is big. We ask them to multitask. So he has been coordinating the field visits. So for those of you that came from the UAE, if there is any feedback that you'd like to share with us on the field visits, he's the man that has been behind there. He'll give you his contacts when you get out. Next to him is Madame Ashana Banja, First Secretary at the Embassy, but also the in charge of investments. So she's been the lead person for this activity because it's one of the objectives to promote investments. Next to her is Madame Zalwango Erina, Counselor at the Uganda Consulate in Dubai, and she's the head of economic and commercial diplomacy at the consulate. Then Madame Ala, she's the public relations officer at the embassy, followed by Ngobi Dennis, the assistant for economic and commercial diplomacy. So as we get out, you see them by the exit. They should share their business cards with you so that when you don't find me, at least you can find those to follow up with. I thank you. Can resume your seats. Honorable Ministers, this forum started, as you heard, on the 27th. It's the 4th edition of the Uganda UAE Business Forum, and the purpose for this forum, it has 5 objectives. Number 1 is to strengthen bilateral partnerships for investment, trade, tourism, and innovation. Number 2, to facilitate networking. We've been having activities for networking, but also providing for business-to-business meetings and government-to-business meetings. Number 3 is to discuss opportunities and challenges of doing business between Uganda and the United Arab Emirates. Number 4, showcasing products and services and business models. Number 5, influence policy, dialogue, and create enabling environment. Honorable Ministers, we focused on 5 areas. I will not bore you with all of them. You know them, the ATMs, in brief. Those are the areas we focused on. And the format has been 3 days activities, as I said before, which started with field visits. The second day was the official opening, which was presided over by the Prime Minister of the Republic of Uganda. She was accompanied by the Minister for Science, Innovation and Technology and the State Minister for Investment. And then it was followed by B2B, business to business, business to government, and government to business. And later on in the evening, we had a welcome dinner, which was presided over by the Minister for Kampala State Council Authority, accompanied by the State Minister for Trade. So today, Honorable Minister, we started with the keynote address about the economic outlook of Uganda by your own, the Permanent Secretary Minister of Finance, who gave interesting figures and statistics to our investors that are here. The UAE delegation has been led by 3 chambers of commerce, Dubai Chamber of Commerce, Sharjah, and Fujairah. As you are well aware, Honorable Minister, the UAE is comprised of 7 emirates. The other 2 emirates were also with us spiritually and with goodwill. They participated in the organizing, that is Abu Dhabi Chamber of Commerce and also Ras Al Khaimah Chamber of Commerce. The delegations here are here in the sectors of agriculture, the sectors of ICT, the sectors of tourism, and the sector of infrastructure, innovation, but also trade and manufacturing. Honorable Minister, tomorrow we expect to sign some MOUs between companies here in those areas we've talked about. One company that is innovation has identified through startups from the Innovation Center in Akawa that they are going to support by mentoring to start with, and also in the near future they will support them with accessing cheap financing. Another MOU we are expecting is between a company that is behind the creation of the smart gates at the airport of Dubai. They are having a follow-up meeting with the Civil Aviation Authority in Entebbe tomorrow, and also immigration, to see if they can get to a conclusion of investing in smart airport facilities. And also, among others, Honorable Minister, we are expecting a lot of outcomes of this forum. Investments in all the areas I've talked about. Honorable Minister, as I said before, that we don't just want to come and talk, but we want also to see tangible outcomes out of this. And these participants from the UAE altogether has been comprised of 30 companies. 30 companies, and they will interact with you, those that are not leaving tomorrow. We shall arrange they come and have a bilateral with you. But also from the Ugandan side, we've had a lot of interest. We've had over 70 companies, including big, medium, and small-sized companies. I must thank them for the patience, because they've been very active and fully participating since day one. So without taking much time, Honorable Minister, I just want to share with you 3 statistics, since you're Minister for Economic Planning, that the investments from UAE to Uganda have grown 10 times in the last 7 years. Of course, you've been supportive to this. When you came for the Dubai Expo 2020, we signed some MOUs that leapfrogged this investment from the then $300 million to $1.5 billion. And since then, we've been following up, and these investments have grown to over $3.5 billion. The same for trade is the other reason that we were deliberate to invite the Minister for Trade to witness the closing of this ceremony, because when he works on what we've discussed with him, Honorable Minister, we can also increase the volumes of Ugandan export to the UAE, because as you are well aware, Honorable Minister, as of September last year, the trade portfolio between Uganda and UAE grew to 2.85 billion US dollars from 600 million. And this has facilitated a lot of our agricultural exports and precious metals. But what we were discussing today with the PSST and the audience here is that if we can work on the two challenges, inconsistencies of supply in terms of quality and quantity, we can grow these volumes by 10 times. And as you say that very soon the economy of Uganda will do too, we can do that once this is achieved. Without taking any more time, I would like to invite my senior colleague, Ambassador Charles Sentong, to speak on behalf of the Minister of Foreign Affairs to make a few remarks. Then he invites the Minister of Trade. And the Minister of Trade in turn, after making his remarks, will invite you to officiate over the closing. Thank you, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Ambassador Zake. The Honorable Minister of Finance, Honorable Matia Kasaija, the Honorable Minister of State for Trade and Industry, Jane Ombadi, leaders of the delegation from United Arab Emirates, representative of the UAE Embassy in Uganda, representative of the private sector in Uganda, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Minister of Foreign Affairs, may I say how excited we are to join all of you at this second business forum, UAE-Uganda Business Forum. Honorable Minister, colleagues, members of the private sector, we as the Minister of Foreign Affairs, we have an important duty in the realization of the 10 growth strategy. And aware and cognizant of that important role, we have put economic and commercial diplomacy at the center of our diplomatic engagement. Honorable Minister, we sincerely thank you and your team. You have not only supported us with your presence, but you have allocated the necessary financial resources to all our missions, which have presented viable plans for the successful implementation of commercial diplomacy. We have had a number of business fora, both in Uganda, in Abu Dhabi, in Dubai, and many capitals, Honorable Minister. Just last year, we were together, and a number of colleagues here in Kuala Lumpur, where various initiatives and the promotion of Uganda was at the center stage. So, Honorable Minister, what you see here is a sample of the fruits or the benefits of the funds you have allocated to the ministry and missions abroad to put economic and the commercial diplomacy at the center of our work. Our missions abroad as agents of Uganda government and the people of Uganda are the core of identifying market opportunities for our products, promoting Uganda as a viable tourism destination, identify, promote, identify viable investors by giving them the necessary investment opportunities available in the country, like for instance, my colleague from the Ministry for National Housing has amplified, because when he goes there, he'll be there one day. But as the ambassador said, when he leaves, these people keep on stamping various cities. You'll find the ambassador and his team in all the Emiratos. You'll find him, you find guys in the US, in all the states. So we have an important duty. But most important, Honorable Minister, we plan important advocacy role. As you all know, a number of our exporters, a number of our business players always have issues with different countries where they trade or they do business with. You may all remember that on a number of occasions, our ministry has been at the forefront in trying to negotiate with the government of Kenya and other partners where there are non-tariff barriers. We have made progress in some areas, but a lot has to be done. So we encourage you to continue informing the ministry of any barriers or any challenges that you may have. We continue to provide information where misinformation has been given. For instance, recently when they said UAE has stopped giving visas to Ugandans, we worked with the UAE embassy to be able to clarify that and to encourage the embassy of UAE to hasten the processing of visas for our businessmen, knowing that UAE is one of our #1 trading partners. Honorable Minister, colleagues, as a ministry, again, we continue, besides economic and economic diplomacy, to work on the strengthening of economic relations with our partners. And in this, what we're trying to do is to engage especially development partners to give us support or economic resources. Those of you who may have heard that it's through such good relations that government of UAE through Saudi has been able to build the airport, or is going to build an airport in Chidepo. We are also privileged to note that the government of Japan has expressed its interest to expand its support to Uganda in the area of infrastructure and a number of development partners. So at the core of our work in this economic and commercial diplomacy is to see that the trade aspect, the investment aspect, and resource mobilization take center stage as one of the avenues of our contribution towards the realization of the 10 growth strategy. We have a lot of work to do, Honorable Minister and colleagues. We up the task and we continue asking for your support. Honorable Minister, colleagues, at this juncture, may I say that this has been a very important interaction, and the 3 days that we have been here, we have built partnerships that are the core of strengthening our economic relations with the people and the government of UAE. On that note, may I request the Honorable Minister of Trade and State of Industry to come and address the meeting. Honorable Minister.
Dodging an ambush here. The Honorable Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, obviously after talking after the chief protocol, who knows how to arrange protocol very well, I don't want to introduce new protocols, but to ride on the protocol already established. My names are General Wilson Basumbadi. I am the Minister of State in charge of trade at the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives. Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon. I am happy to be here as we draw this landmark Uganda UAU Business Forum to a close. I have no doubt that all these participants here have had very fruitful engagements, generated ideas, and are now committed to fostering stronger economic ties between our two countries, because for the last 3 days, as the ambassador mentioned, this has been a center of vibrant discussions, generating new ideas, and generating promising partnerships under the theme Uganda, unlocking opportunities, building bridges through trade and investment. I specifically want to extend our sincere appreciation to the government and the business community of the United Arab Emirates who accepted to attend this function and made this event possible. This forum has once again demonstrated the strength and potential of relationship between Uganda and the United Arab Emirates, because I am told it is the fourth forum. Because when we work together, we open new doors for trade, for investment, and innovation to benefit our two people on both sides. According to the Ministry of Finance 2025 September report, in August 2025, the Middle East remained Uganda's largest export market, accounting for 41.6% of the total merchandise exports, with the United Arab Emirates alone receiving close to 98% of the exports to that region. Uganda's exports to the United Arab Emirates rebounded sharply to 2.62 billion in 2024, which is the highest level in 5 years. This represents a remarkable tenfold increase and demonstrates growing demand for Ugandan products in the UAE market. While Uganda's imports from the UAE have remained relatively stable, around 1 billion annually since 2022. This growth for us reflects Uganda's efforts to diversify export products, particularly in gold, coffee, tea, fish, fresh produce, as well as emerging exports in pharmaceuticals and manufactured goods. The strong trade trends highlight renewed investor confidence and trade resilience between the two nations. And as the ambassador mentioned, we only need to work on the two aspects of quantity, because it is easy to convince these people here and we access their market, but sustaining it is another issue. And obviously, standards becomes one of them, and that's why I am suggesting to the ambassador that for standards, like you are going to sign these other MOUs, for standards and quality, we could also spearhead developing and signing mutual recognition agreements with respect to standards and quality and sanitary and phytosanitary to provide and promote agro exports. Honorable Minister, with this kind of arrangement, Uganda is at the pivotal moment in its economic transformation, and guided by our tenfold growth strategy, we are committed to multiplying industrial output, exports, and employment opportunities tenfold over the coming years. This vision is anchored on our ATM's priorities of agro-industrialization, tourism, mineral development, and science, technology, and innovation, including artisans, sectors that present significant opportunities for UAE investors. As for trade and industry opportunities, according to the estimates from the Uganda Bureau of Statistics, whose story you saw there, Uganda's economy grew by 6.3% in the 2024-25, up from 6.1%, and it is expected to grow at 7%. The major drivers of this growth were increased aggregate demand, investments, and exports, as reflected in growth of agriculture, industry, and the services sector. As you know, Uganda offers a wide array of trade and industrial opportunities, particularly in sectors prioritized under our tenfold growth strategy and the ATM's framework. For agro-industrialization, Uganda's agriculture sector is the backbone of our economy, employing over 70% of our workforce and accounting for about 40% of merchandise exports, with earnings exceeding $2.2 billion annually. With the value addition, this could increase to 20 billion by 2040, contributing significantly to our GDP. Uganda's diverse agricultural production creates immense potential for agro-processing, food manufacturing, and export-oriented industries. Investors can explore coffee, tea, fruits, grains, and vegetable processing, along with integrated value chains that add value locally before export. Before we came here, we were talking with the ambassador to the UAE about how we could even diversify agricultural production in Busoga region, for example, by producing emboli. The emboli is in English, sweet potatoes. Because as I was going through the list of the food products that UAE requires, sweet potatoes was number 2 on the list. And I was asking him why he cannot mobilize his people to produce sweet potatoes instead of sugar canes. Because people out there, when they are not able to utilize the land that they have, they hire it out. But with the sweet potatoes being produced every 3 months, harvested every 3 months, it could be a good wealth creation activity for our people out there. As far as tourism is concerned, the sector report in 2024, Uganda welcomed 1.3 million international visitors, marking a 7.7% increase from the previous year, and the tourism earnings surged by 26%, reaching 1.28 billion in 2024, underscoring the sector's robust growth and investment potential for ecotourism, luxury lodges, and sustainable tourism infrastructure, as well as public-private partnerships in hospitality development targeting regional and international visitors. This is one other area where our friends and brothers from UAE can interest themselves, because it is a very viable area. In the mineral development, you are aware Uganda is very rich in industrial minerals, rare earth, construction materials. I'm happy I saw one of the investors from UAE now producing cement in Kamongoli. Kamongoli? Yes. near Mbale there. He's there just by as you get out of those two doors there on the left. And so this is an indication that investors can engage in exploration, extraction, refining, and downstream manufacturing, turning our mineral wealth into industrial growth and regional trade. According to the Mineral Development Program, May 2025 report, the total value of mineral production stood at 60.3 billion Uganda shillings, with the limestone contributing the largest share at 39%, followed by iron ore. We still have a lot of iron ore, which is not exploited in the Kigezu region. You could interest yourselves out there. And it is the best iron ore with about 70% purity. You could interest yourselves out there. Kaolin, lithium, and many others. However, the value of gold production remained low, and the most output lack of technology. So you could engage in innovation around this area. One other area is the science, technology, and innovation. It has been talked about a lot. I don't need to bore you again on this subject. The other area is manufacturing and export trade. Uganda's export earnings for manufactured products is increasing, and obviously you are aware that we have a huge market around here. In the region, you have the East African community, where if you invest here, you have access to the regional market in the East African community, 300 million people, duty-free, quota-free. You don't have to take them back to the UAE. You have a market here. You have the commercial market. You also have the continental market, because Uganda signed the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, which covers about a population of 1.3 billion people with a market value of about 3.4 trillion US dollars. So you will be home and dry when you invest here. Opportunities therefore exist to establish manufacturing hubs for textiles, consumer goods, building materials, and processed foods, leveraging trade incentives and preferential market access. The other area is in the energy infrastructure development. Ladies and gentlemen, this forum is a launch pad, therefore, for action, partnerships, and investment, because the ambassador said we have talked, now it is action time. I therefore want to urge our UAE partners to translate the ideas discussed here into strategic investments, joint ventures, long-term collaborations that unlock the full potential of Uganda's ATM sectors. The government of Uganda stands ready to support your ventures through creating the necessary environment, one of the most important one, of course, being stability, peace, and security, because money fears noise. If money fears noise, therefore, one of the biggest support that government can provide is ensuring peace, sustainable peace, and security, ensuring predictable and enabling environment, and facilitating initiatives that generate jobs build industries, and expand trade. In closing, let me reaffirm Uganda is open for business, and together we can turn the vision of tenfold growth strategy and ATM's priorities into tangible results, prosperity for our people, strong economic ties between our two nations, and a lasting Uganda-UAE partnership, given that UAE is now not just a partner, it is also a leading export destination and a crucial source of imports. We are not yet, for those items that we are not producing yet here at home. I want to thank you, and I want to appreciate the efforts by the embassy, our embassy in the UAE, and everybody who has made this function, this event, very successful. I am looking forward to seeing the outcome of this forum reflected in successful projects and enduring collaboration. The ambassador, our ambassador to the UAE, has invited me, and I will take the invitation as we explore more opportunities for our exports and also attracting investors to come and utilize the opportunities available here for investment. I want now to take this opportunity to invite my senior, Honorable Kasaija, the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, to come and make his remarks and officially close this business forum. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you.
Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It's an honor and a privilege to welcome you all to Uganda, the Pearl of Africa. I specifically welcome you to the 4th edition of the Uganda UAB Business Forum. I bring with me warm greetings from His Excellency President Yoweri Museveni, the President of the Republic of Uganda, and the people of Uganda. Let me repeat this. I bring with me warm greetings from His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the President of the Republic of Uganda, and the people of Uganda. It's my great pleasure to address you today on the enduring friendship and the growing economic cooperation between our two nations. Today, we gather government officials, leaders of chambers of commerce, captains of industry, business leaders, trade and investment policymakers, and support institutions to foster networking, establish connections, share experiences, and explore mutually beneficial investment and trade opportunities. Over the last 3 years, Uganda and the UAE have strengthened economic cooperation significantly. The UAE has become Uganda's largest export destination, and it has invested a substantial amount in our country. Bilateral trade has reached $2.85 billion and UAE investments have grown to $3.5 billion, particularly in energy, infrastructure, healthcare, agribusiness, oil and gas, and manufacturing, construction, real estate, and tourism. Your Excellencies and distinguished guests, I would also like to recognize the strong bonds of friendship that exist between Uganda and the United Arab Emirates. We enjoy cordial relations, cooperation, and a shared vision for sustainable development. This economic cooperation and friendship between the two nations has been manifested by the visits of His Excellency, the President of Uganda, thrice, once this year, twice last year to the UAE, as well as the visit of His Highness Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs of UAE to Uganda in May this year, which culminated in the signing of 6 memorandum of understanding agreements in areas of investment, capacity building, cooperation in energy, cooperation in rail transport, ICT, and waive of visa requirements. I will repeat this because it's very nice. The Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs of UAE to Uganda in May this year, which culminated in the signing of 6 memorandum of understanding agreements in areas of investment, capacity building, cooperation in energy, cooperation in rail transport, ICT, and waiver of visa requirements. The agreements, the MOUs signed over the years between our two nations are indicators of deep economic cooperation, a shared commitment to sustainable development and socio-economic transformation. Excellencies and distinguished guests, last year I officiated at 3 Uganda UAE Business Forum that was held in collaboration with the Chambers of Commerce of Abu Dhabi and Dubai, and had an opportunity to meet with the leadership of the two chambers and appreciated the continued cooperation that has been ongoing between them and Uganda's mission in UAE. I am happy to see that this year, as agreed, the forum has been held in Uganda. Excellencies and distinguished guests, our country has embarked on a forward-looking strategy to enhance trade, attract investments, promote value-added exports. The government of Uganda is implementing the 10-fold growth strategy that aims to make Uganda a $500 billion economy by 2040. I'm sure that has been said by the previous speakers. To this end, the government is focusing on monetization of Uganda's economy with the aim of transforming 39% household in a subsistence economy to the money economy. This strategy is anchored on prioritizing 4 sectors, namely agro-industrialization, tourism development, mineral-based development, including oil and gas, and science and technology. Under agro-industrialization, our focus is commercialization of agriculture and adding value addition to ensure that we move beyond the export of raw materials to the development of robust manufacturing and service base. In the mineral-based industrialization, Uganda is finalizing quantification of mineral deposits and their governance regime, commercializing of petrochemical industry, and expanding capacity for oil exports and petrochemical products. Under science and technology government is interested in attracting investors to add value to the traditional economy in areas of research and innovation. These key sectors of agro-industrialization and commercialization, energy, tourism, manufacturing, real estate, logistics, and financial services present vast opportunities for both local and foreign investors. Through the able leadership of His Excellency, the President of Uganda, I am proud to say our country offers one of the most attractive investment climate in the region. I will repeat this, through the able leadership of His Excellency, the President of Uganda, I am proud to say our country offers one of the most attractive investment climate in the region. Through continuous reforms, we have simplified business registration through the creation of the Investor One-Stop Center under the Uganda Investment Authority, which offers a single access point for information and service transactions for investors, offered tax incentives, strengthened investors' protection, prioritized infrastructure, development, digital connectivity, and digitization of a number of public services through e-payments. All these mechanisms are aimed at reducing the cost of doing business, Excellencies and distinguished guests. To enhance investments, the government has established a number of frameworks, including public-private partnerships model. Uganda has a legal regulatory framework law that governs this model of investment of partnerships, designated industrial parks and free zones, special economic zones with already established infrastructure, roads, utilities, that is to say, availability of water and electricity, as well as reliable supply of energy, electricity, and reduced tariffs on electricity to support its industrial sector and build a robust, diversified economy with large industrialists paying 300.4 shillings per unit, down from 341 shillings. Excellencies and distinguished guests, I would like, in a special way, to thank the Chambers of Commerce from UAE as they continue to foster growth between our two private sectors through the trade missions they continue to undertake to Uganda on an annual basis aimed at identifying partnership opportunities. We pledge our commitment to support you. Excellencies and distinguished guests, I strongly believe that this forum will achieve the main objective of facilitating dialogue between Uganda and the UAE and the business community, private sector, and present opportunities that will lead to new investments and business partnerships for the mutual benefit of both of our countries. I would like to thank our mission in UAE that continues to promote commercial and economic diplomacy through organizing forums of this nature that provide a platform for exchange of ideas. I would also like to thank the Uganda and the UAE participants who have come to participate in the spirit of the theme of this forum, which is Uganda, unlocking opportunities, building bridges through trade and investments. As I conclude, I call for greater collaboration and urge the private sector to embrace the vast opportunities that lie between Uganda and the UAE. With these remarks, I wish to officially close this forum and call upon our visiting delegation to take time off and explore the tourist attraction that the Pearl of Africa has to offer. Don't rush to go. Don't rush to go. You will see beautiful things which nature and the human beings. We wish you to keep you for a month if there is a need. If you don't have to for that time, then when you go back, you come back again and come and see the beauty of this country. With those words, I want to thank you. Thank you very much indeed, and may God bless all of us.
Thank you, Honorable. And colleagues, who else says it better other than the man himself, our guest this evening, the Minister of Finance, Matia Kasaija. A round of applause for all our guests. A round of applause for all of us for being here. And a round of applause for all the discussions that have been held here and those that will materialize into actuality. We are going to take a photo, and definitely I will invite our friends from the UAE kindly join the photo. Yes, you can. Yes, our distinguished guests, Honorable Matiaka Saija and General Wilson, kindly don't leave because we also have some department heads from government. We have representation from UNBS. Kindly come forward. And the organizing committee from Foreign Affairs, also make your way here. Honorable Matiaka Saija, yes, we will now request that you append your signature on that commemorative piece that was actually painted live yesterday. So as our guest does the signing, I would like to remind you that for those who are interested in the B2B meetings, the conversation will still happen in Mera. You could pass by and talk to a few people before you leave. Also, the Ministry of Agriculture is so courteous enough to provide us with a cup of coffee just outside at their booth. So you can pass by and grab yourself a cup of coffee from the Ministry of Agriculture. Once our guests exit, the rest of us kindly feel free to grab yourself a cup of tea outside. You could choose to pass by the Ministry of Agriculture booth and have yourself a cup of coffee and a bite at the outside. My name is Walter Mwesije, who's taken you throughout the last 2 days. And I'd like to wish you a very great evening and a safe journey for all our friends from the UAE who will be heading back to their homeland. Good evening.